Someone recently asked me whether I would talk about the effects of bullying and what it can do to a person. I'm 30 years old. I suffer with depression, bipolar, and chronic anxiety. I take on average 10 pills a day to help me be normal, because when I was growing up, people were cruel, kids in particular. I honestly don't know where to start. First time I started to be bullied when I was very young. We're talking year 1, primary school. First instance, to think a 6-year-old would think this way is, I'd hate for it to happen to any of my nieces or nephews or even my son, was I'd drawn a picture in year 1 and I'd basically just started there at this school. And this boy who was sat next to me, I'm not going to name any names because I do actually remember all your names, spat on my picture. Teacher came over, and before I could say anything, this boy said it was me. And I didn't even get a chance to stand up for myself or defend myself. And I got sent to the corner in front of everybody, humiliated. And that was the first time that I knew I couldn't trust a grown-up to go to tell them anything. In year 3, so we're talking 8 years old, I was segregated from the class because I was the tallest and biggest girl there. For some reason they didn't like me. And I was pinned under a table whilst 2 boys kicked at me constantly. I screamed and nobody came. And then when I finally did go out and run to a teacher and tell them, they told me to stop telling tales and that I'd be fine and get over it. The next thing that I remember was when my hair started to grow white here. And I used to get picked on because of that. Names, mostly. So from the age of 9, I dyed my hair to cover it, to stop the bullying. I was picked on because of my weight. I've never been a slim girl, I've always been big. And we were, I think, this was year 5. I was in, well, for some reason we're all inside, it was a rainy day, and we're all playing dress up. And I'd got into this dress and we weren't supposed to be there, we were just having fun. And someone had buttoned me into this dress. Now I was wearing a dress underneath this dress. And someone got behind me and unbuttoned this dress, but also unbuttoned my dress. Pulled it down, leaving me standing there in just my knickers in front of everybody. Yeah. Safe to say is that my reputation was not Very good. In year 6, it was so bad that everybody got invited to a birthday party, and the boy whose birthday party it is, his mum actually came round and gave all the invitations out. His mum went away because she was a teaching assistant, and he came up to me, took my invitation away, ripped it up and says, "You're not coming to my birthday party because I don't like you. No one likes you." So, the one friend that I did have in primary school, I went to high school with. About 4 weeks into high school, she turned around. She was the only person I had at the time. She turned around and says, "I don't want you hanging with me anymore because no one likes you. Everyone thinks you're horrible." I wasn't horrible. They just didn't like me. I was just quiet. I want a horrible kid. I want a bully. And she turned around in front of everybody and says, "I don't want you hanging with me anymore." That's when I knew I couldn't trust anybody. Anybody. And to this day, she still lives in the same street I do, and I can't even look at her. In high school, I was called names on a daily basis. At that point, I was very much a loner. I was smart, did all my homework, but I just really couldn't fit in. No one had let me fit in. Every time I'd try and make a new friend, something would go fucking horribly wrong. Or it'd be some sort of cruel joke. And what was worse was a school bus. Way there, went way back. And one day, after all this name calling, Dad tried to say, if someone started on you, just like hit them, stand up for yourself. But at the end of the day, I was brought up with boys, not girls. I wasn't that sort of person to do that. I tried one time. I got my nose almost broken. Came home with a bloody nose and a black eye when I was in year 7. And in year 8, when I was 13, I was on the school bus. This is years of name calling and stuff like that. This guy was throwing a rugby ball at my head. I was spat on. I was stuff thrown at me. I saw the worst case of bullying that I've ever seen, where someone set someone on fire with an aerosol can. Well, like, basically blew it on his hair and singed all his hair. I was sat right next to him. Thank God it wasn't aimed at me. But this one day, someone was throwing a rugby ball at my head and I had enough. My sister was going at school at the time. She was in year 7. And I'd have been in year 9, sorry. And I ran off the bus about 4 stops early. Ran into some woodland. Tore up all my school books in a fit of rage. And there and then I decided to end my life. Or tried to. The only thing that stopped me that day from hanging myself was my sister, because she actually chased after me. I was in a part of the wood where she couldn't find me, but I heard her screaming for me. So I was in the woods for a couple of hours. I went home. Mum and Dad were in bits because they didn't know where I'd gone. All they'd heard is what had happened on the bus. And then, yeah, basically my dad pulled me out of school. and I was out of school from spring of that year till the October. That September the Twin Towers fell. That's how I remember it so clearly. And I went to a new school. The only difference in that new school is I actually enjoyed that school, even though I went through some bullying right at the beginning. Boys started on me because I was big, and we got into a fight, and everyone thought I was mental because I'd just come into that school. Everyone thought I'd been expelled from the other school for starting fights, so I let that rumour spread because everybody left me alone after that. I actually made some friends, but my social skills and my people skills and friendship making skills have been very lacking since then. My anxiety, depression, I was depressed as a preteen. I was even depressed before that. I didn't know I suffered from anxiety until I had a breakdown of last year. I left my partner because I couldn't handle it anymore. And yeah, it kind of lives on like a fucking broken record sometimes. And certain things that happen now, I'll give me flashbacks and I'll automatically go into that defensive part of myself. How you know it's bad is if you can't remember. I can't remember hardly any of my high school years. And my psychiatrist said that it's because it was so bad that my mind's naturally blocked it out. There's people who I've met on nights out from school who I were in the same class as for 3 years, and I don't even know them. I wouldn't know their faces. So yeah, that's what it can do. It fucks up your relationships later on in life. It fucks up the way you think. It fucks up the way you see people. You're automatically defensive against everything. You're anxious about everything because you think everybody's going to take it the wrong way, or someone's going to think this or someone's going to think that about you, or it's a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. So bad so that I've said to myself I would not know what I'd do if it happened to Alfie, my little boy. If I found out someone was bullying him, God knows what I'd do. I've always said I'd prefer him to be the bully and not him. The simple fact is that I do not want him to grow up like I have, with broken relationships and just unable to keep a friendship down. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm weird and wonderful in my own ways, but I didn't deserve what I went through. No one does. And it haunts you later on in life, and you just gotta get through it. I've self-medicated. I've self-harmed because I don't know how to express my feelings. I've tried to kill myself. I've self-harmed in other ways. Well, there's in other ways, which I'm not going to go into. So, because when you go through that shit, you don't know how to deal with your own feelings. I suffer with anxiety, which gives me massive mood swings. I've recently figured out that I did not get angry because I didn't allow myself to get angry. And now the smallest thing will make me angry. And I'm having to take medication for that, to stop my mood swings. because bottling it up for so long kills you inside, and you have to release it. And it's scary. It scared me so much that that's how I knew that there was something wrong with me. I went to the doctors and told them about it. Because my moods just... I became a very, very, very angry person. Not at the world, just at stupid things. Like something would annoy me, or... It was stupid, insignificant things. And... it was like everybody was against me. Like nothing I could do was right. Nothing I did was right. So, just, if someone is watching this, you can, and who's being bullied, you can get through it. I went through mental and physical abuse. I'm not talking about everything here. There's loads more examples that I could go through, but they're just two. Shit's just fucked up. But you can get through it. I've got a lovely little boy. I've got a family who loves me. I've got very few selective friends who loves me. But also to the people, especially kids who don't realise they're doing it. Just once you crush somebody that far and you see someone ignoring you with the head down constantly, just not wanting to exist, just leave them alone. If they're walking away from everybody else and they've got the head down, there's a reason for that. It's because they want to be left alone and ignored and just disappear. If anything, ask someone to go over and check if they're okay. Because that is the first sign that there's... It's not the first sign, it's the last sign that something's wrong. So you wanted to know, so there it is. Why I'm a fucked up, screwed up person. But I made it through it. And I know you can too. This is a video against bullying.